Reacting to HBO Max's new show called Let Us Pray. I grew up like this, so it's going to be a bit traumatizing. So whatever comes out, trigger warning in advance. Okay, let's go. Okay. Gaylor, Michigan. Funny enough, I knew quite a few girls that went to this church. Back when I was in high school, there was a chat room that was created for kids that were thinking about going to the college that I ultimately ended up going to. In it, there were people from all of the different areas or different churches within the US and outside the US that were also considering that college. So that's how I made a lot of the connections that I have. Also, during that time, creating websites underneath certain platforms wasn't as difficult. I created a chat room with the same domain, which had a lot of these people in it as well. So it's interesting to see now, and a lot of the people were from Gaylor, Michigan. So how I would categorize it is IFB is the cult, and then there's all these subcategories of different churches that believe in this same dogmatic type religion. And then you have the little individual sectors. They predominantly believe the same thing, but some of them, there's a range within there. There's a spectrum within that, for context.
This is where it all started for me. So, this is Aaron Willand's house. Aaron Willand was my teacher at Grace Baptist Christian School. I wish I would have never gone into this house.
Also, for context, teachers underneath the sphere weren't actually educated teachers. They would all go to the same Bible college with people that also were not educated. So it was not an accredited school whatsoever, but yet you paid for this type of education. So all of the teachers within this whole cult didn't have accredited degrees whatsoever. Their degrees are trash, and they didn't really teach what people would define as actual education. It was mainly predominantly like Bible classes. And even the education that you did get was very dumbed down. For instance, the highest level of education I got at the religious school that I went to, because it was taught by people that didn't get an actual degree, was like algebra. And I want to say is like the top, like senior year, that was it. And we maybe finished half a book. And this is no offense to them. I think they're good-hearted people, but to call yourself a teacher is not true.
I used to babysit his son. This is where all of my abuse in Michigan occurred.
Yeah, that's heavy. A lot of the kids were ostracized if they spoke out about their realities. A lot of people were abused. A lot of children were abused. A lot of it was known about by the adults, and they did nothing. If you spoke out to add insult to injury, you were ostracized as a kid and looked down upon and treated like you were evil. I'm sure that's the case with this woman, but now hearing some of the horror stories of even my classmates and knowing how we all were taught by the leadership to treat them, silencing victims, it breaks my heart.
Evil lives there, that's for sure.
Brother White, I heard an old preacher one time say this: in the New Testament, all progress is made through suffering. Sometimes it's the negative experiences in life that are truly the life-changing experiences.
Well, isn't that true? the negative experiences are the life-changing experiences, you dumb. It's hard, right? Because when you're raising people and even have a congregation in general, life is a bit of suffering. Does it have to always be suffering? Absolutely not. But some of the dogma that was in these type of spheres, it turns people into martyrs. Again, like how I said in the first reaction video, ability to hear other people's feedback and to put your ego aside and not want to be viewed as like a good person all the time is the thing that will forfeit or help you become a better person. Also, going hand in hand with that, the whole dogma around if your life is suffering, but like making it so much about I am this religion and that's why I'm suffering turns you into a victim rather than maybe hearing other people's viable feedback, which doesn't necessarily go with what's about to be said, I'm sure, but it is something to think about.
I was born into an independent fundamental Baptist church. When I say born, it was like literally you're born and 2 weeks later you were in the nursery at church and there every service. Then you would have school Monday through Friday at the church. So basically 6 out of 7 days a week you're at church.
Yeah. You're there all the time. I 1,000,000%, first of all, born and raised straight out of the womb into the nurseries and indoctrinated. I don't think I got one day a week where I wasn't involved in some sort of church activity. I mean, every day of the week you were doing something in this religion and around those types of people. A common question that I get asked a lot, were you in like a community? No, I was not in a community, and most of these people weren't in like a community, but they were only allowed to communicate or be in close proximity to people who also believed similarly to us. The only time that we were allowed to communicate with normal people was if we were to witness to them and get them into this religious institution.
Wednesday nights, you have to memorize Bible verses to get prizes. We had summer camp, which was really fun. No movies, no television, and they definitely put you to work as a kid, so you did learn good work ethic.
1,000,000%. Like, that's one area, if I could pick like an area I was thankful for, it was being taught to work at a very young age. You learn how to work and you learn how to make it look effortless. For some of these kids, I'm sure there are child labor law infringements left and right. So yes, on that. I'm thankful. Honestly, out of all the trauma that came out of all of this, this is nothing. Like a drop in the bucket for me personally.
In our family, everything revolved around church. It was all I really knew. One morning I woke up and my dad was gone. At school, a friend of mine brought a newspaper clipping of a domestic violence situation, and it listed my dad having been arrested. The church definitely gave my mom a lot of backlash for calling the police that night. They felt like you should never call the police on a family member or like another person in the church, like you go to the pastor.
Geez, like to put yourself in her shoes. She woke up, her dad was gone. Her dad was in jail. Her mom called the cops on him. Women were abused by their husbands and were taught that that was normal and that they didn't have rights. If there was an issue, you were supposed to go to the pastor. You weren't supposed to get other people involved. And a lot of times the pastors, were guilty of similar crimes, if not worse, and would silence these people. So I can't imagine how this felt for her.
And the pastor got up in the pulpit and basically said my mom was a snake in the grass. At that time, I didn't understand that this isn't a normal church. No.
Most people have probably never.
Yeah, don't even get me started on the passive-aggressive sermons. You were silenced left and right. But anyway, I'm going to conclude there. Take care of yourselves and check back soon for part 3. Hope you have a wonderful day. Peace and love. Bye.